secretaries here present and those not in this function, and the other leaders in different positions before your throne of grace, O God. May they find mercy and grace before you as they look for solutions to the different problems that are facing our nation. Lord, I thank you for the rains and pray that you protect those who have been affected by the floods. May you give wisdom and willingness to help in the government's intervention efforts, and thank you for partners you will touch to help our government in the same front. We indeed thank you, dear Lord, for valuable friends of Kenya like the USA, and pray that you bless Ambassador Whitman and US President Biden. We thank you for the good relationship that has seen Kenya get American volunteers through the Peace Corps, and we thank you for impactful programs like PEPFAR, whose 20 years of work in the health sector, dear Lord, in Kenya is being celebrated here today. We thank you for the agencies fronting the work, and we thank you for the good partnership with the Ministry of Health, dear Lord, that has relieved the suffering for our communities with the HIV and AIDS, and that has enabled the smile in the eyes of Kenyan communities who are represented here today by the heroes whose stories we are witnessing today. Thank you, God, for leading us in the way we should go as a nation, and may you be pleased by our presence here. May you bless Kenya. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Let us kindly take our seats. Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Defense Forces, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Ambassador Meg Whitman, the CS Health, Madam Susan Nakumicha, the Deputy Governor, Nairobi County, all principal secretaries present, all cabinet secretaries present, local and national leaders, partners, and invited guests, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, sir, with your permission, at this point, I'll invite the Program Officer for National Empowerment Network of People Living with HIV in Kenya, Ms. Joyce Ouma, to make her welcoming remarks. Ms. Joyce Ouma, karibu sana to make your welcoming remarks. Yes, we can welcome her with a hand clap. Karibu.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to ride on the protocols that have already been established. Today, I am very excited to be here because today is a celebration. Today, we celebrate 20 years of PEPFAR's impact in Kenya and, of course, to an extent, also globally. Today, we celebrate 20 years of hope. The stories that you've seen just now in the gallery walk is just 20 out of the millions of lives that have already been saved by PEPFAR. So I am very excited to be the one to do these welcoming remarks because I just don't represent myself, but I represent a community of young people, a community of people living with HIV, and as you have heard, I am coming from the National Network of People Living with HIV here in Kenya. So I won't say much because a lot has been said on the inside and a lot will be said in the course of this discussion. But I'd just like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate the partnership and the relationship that we've had with PEPFAR as a partnership, as a nation, with the government, and of course with the contribution that the communities have made. We've all made very amazing contribution, and Kenya gets closer and closer to achieving the 95, 95, 95 targets. And of course, our president, we are being lauded, and as advocates out there, we are constantly being reminded that Kenya made a very bold commitment that we will be ending AIDS by 2027, unlike the other targets overally, which is by 2030. So Your Excellency and everybody who is present, I would like to take this opportunity first to thank you for being here, for gracing us with your presence. It takes a lot to get you here. We're glad we have you here. And yes, we hope that in your commitment, and of course, we are a few days from the World AIDS Day, which is on the 1st of December. And the theme for this year's World AIDS Day is Let Communities Lead. And we thank you for your commitment so far, and we hope that in your agenda of ending AIDS by 2027, that the communities will still remain at the helm and remain at the forefront of this. With those very few remarks, I'd like to really take this opportunity once again to invite you all to be jolly, to invite you all to celebrate with us, because we have come a long way. Of course, there's a lot of work to still be done. But yeah. enjoy with us, celebrate with us. But before I sit down, I was supposed to be the MC if you look at the initial program. I'd just like to take this opportunity to also mention that we are working with PEPFAR to run a campaign to celebrate this 20 years of partnership. So please feel free to go on your social media and use the hashtags World AIDS Day 2023 and hashtag PEPFAR at 20. Finally, I'd like to remind you that the beautiful gallery walk that you just did is going to remain mounted for 1 month. So in case you did not get an opportunity to view, to read the stories, this is the opportunity. Please feel free to invite others to also come and see the impact that this partnership has brought together. Otherwise, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the event.
Thank you, Joyce. Another round of applause for Joyce. Thank you. Thank you so much. And next, would not like to be thrown out of Nairobi, so we have the Deputy Governor, Nairobi County. Why don't we welcome him at least to just welcome us so that next time we have a space we can use. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency, the Ambassador of the United States, Meg Whitman, Cabinet Secretary is here, led by the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Susan Nakumicha, all the Principal Secretaries and all other dignitaries. Your Excellency, mine is very simple, is to welcome you all to Nairobi City County and to convey my, the apologies of His Excellency Governor Sakaja, who is traveling and out of the country and therefore not able to attend this event. But before I finish off, I would like to say that the stories we have seen out there, they are great stories about vision. When PEPFAR started 20 years ago, the American government and the leadership came up with a program that today we have seen very significant impact in people's lives. Your Excellency, we believe the reforms that you have initiated in the health sector in Kenya will reflect the same kind of success, the same kind of stories 20 years ahead. And that's what I would ask all our people, all our citizens to adopt and support. So thank you very much and welcome to Nairobi. Asanteni.
Thank you, DG. The next item on the program, Your Excellency, is a poem recital. And this poem recital is by Angel Atieno and Alvin Otieno of Maseno School for the Deaf. Let's welcome them with a clap. And I think we clap like this. There you go. Welcome.
In front of you are Angel and Alvin, ready to present to you a poem entitled "To End AIDS, a Global Health Challenge." Welcome. With a warrior spirit and united in strength, bearing hope that never dies, with PEPFAR as the guiding light, our focus on 2027, a 20-year journey to end AIDS, a global health challenge. We honor our brothers and sisters who didn't survive the fight. We salute everyone who, despite the challenges, is living life to the fullest, and applaud all efforts, past, present, and future. And to the government and PEPFAR, we say asante as we end AIDS, a global health challenge. For us to sustain the fight. Our slogan will always remain: prevention is better than cure. For in prevention lies the key to a healthier, better nation. As we end AIDS, a global health challenge, may our spirits never die. May our resilience shine bright. May we find strength in shared efforts. May we be guided by love and hope to end AIDS, a Kenyan health challenge. Thank you.
All right, let's give them another clap. There you go. Thank you. Thank you very much for that presentation. Next, we have a short video presentation which gives us a scope, and this is also involving the county governments. So let's have the video presentation.
"20 years ago, PEPFAR was founded in the US to support the struggle and the fight against HIV/AIDS. We in Kenya were very excited because AIDS had become a terrible pandemic that was killing people without people knowing what to do. In fact, AIDS was a death sentence. The whole idea about PEPFAR was that it was meant to give life-saving treatment for AIDS so that people could take drugs while they have AIDS and still live longer. And I must say that in Kisumu County alone, those living healthily with HIV are about 116,000. 20 years ago, nobody would have survived. New infections of HIV have also been averted through this robust program that aimed to prevent the spread of HIV. PEPFAR resources have been instrumental in strengthening our health system through support for laboratories, healthcare workers, supply chain system, and systems for data collection and reporting. These systems were also instrumental in responding to COVID-19 when it also struck the world in a similar manner. So as we celebrate the 20th anniversary of PEPFAR, let us congratulate the American people who originally initiated this program. And let us thank God that it has actually widely succeeded and should continue to succeed as the number of people living with HIV/AIDS or new infections go down systematically. I do believe that figures exist that show that new HIV infections are becoming less and less. But that doesn't mean that we relax and say all is well, and so don't take any preventive measures. Our health workers do teach people, community health workers, right from the family, on what to do to prevent the spread of any disease, including HIV/AIDS. So I do believe that two things must happen. One, those living with HIV must continue to take drugs as they are instructed by the medical practitioners and health workers. Those who have no HIV must continue taking preventive measures so as not to be counted among those who need help by taking drugs. That will help also to reduce the cost of managing HIV/AIDS down.
Next, allow me to now invite the U.S. Ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Meg Whitman, to make her remarks. We can give her a clap as she's coming. Karibu sana Balozi.
Asante sana, hamjambo. Good morning. Your Excellency, the President of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, Prime Cabinet Secretary Mudavadi, who I think was going to be here but may have left last night, Cabinet Secretary and my good friend, Minister of Health, Susan Nahumicha. The other Cabinet Secretaries that are here are 2 Deputy Governors from Nairobi and Kisumu, all national and county government representatives present, and our multi and bilateral partners who are also present, community members, faith and civil society representatives, and most importantly, our 20 heroes, all protocols observed. From a young age, I have been fascinated by what science and technology can do to push frontiers, solve problems, and imagine seemingly impossible possibilities. I am a product of the days where President John F. Kennedy inspired a nation, really the world, to go beyond our known limits. He declared that we would put a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth within a decade. And that idea, followed by the innovation, commitment, and partnership that made it a reality, was nothing short of extraordinary. In the early 2000s, President George W. Bush had a moonshot moment. He recognized the greatest health crisis facing the continent of Africa and knew the United States and partners needed to act. HIV/AIDS was killing tens of millions of people. Economies were crashing, families were devastated, and communities were vanishing. In 2003, the United States announced the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, known worldwide as PEPFAR. Putting government resources, private sector know-how, and unprecedented partnership models behind this initiative has resulted in the largest commitment by any nation to address a single disease in history. The result? Over 25 million lives saved and still counting. This year is the 20th anniversary of that landmark announcement and a time to celebrate PEPFAR's impact. The unprecedented partnership of PEPFAR, the Government of Kenya, Kenyan civil society, and the Kenyan private sector has proven transformative. To celebrate the larger story of PEPFAR's impact in Kenya, the U.S. Embassy is highlighting 20 extraordinary Kenyans whose lives have been forever changed. Today we honor those heroes of hope and the millions more that they represent. Their stories inspire me, and I am confident that they will serve as an inspiration to you too. Stories of Kenyans like Edna, living a productive life with an undetectable viral load, running her own business, mentoring young people, courageously counseling neighbors to continue their vital antiretroviral treatment, and raising and educating 3 strong daughters to lead healthy lives. Stories of Kenyans like Dan, who has remained HIV negative with the help of pre-exposure prophylaxis, who has been a faithful companion and a friend to his HIV-positive girlfriend, and who has become an activist for PrEP, promoting sound decision-making among youth in his community. Stories of Kenyans like Joyce, who has bravely overcome gender-based violence and is socially, educational, and economically empowered to be more resilient as she leads her community and champions the rights of the vulnerable. Stories of providers like Dr. Isaac, who has been a partner for 2 decades, dedicating his life's work to rewriting the stories of pediatric HIV patients like Joylene and Aaron, both of whom now work for the very programs that altered the course of their lives, giving the gift of hope to others. Stories of Kenyans like Alice, who was supported to prevent transmitting HIV to her children during pregnancy and breastfeeding, spending the last decade counseling hundreds of other mothers in prevention of mother-to-child transmission methods, to share the incomparable gift of healthy babies. And stories of Kenyans like Angel, who you just met, who inspires us with courage and fierce determination beyond her years and circumstances, giving hope for an AIDS-free generation of Kenyans, and reminding all of us that we can do anything we set our minds to. The United States and Kenya have collaborated to build a more prosperous and secure future for Kenya for 60 years. In my time as ambassador, I have seen the life-changing work of the U.S.-Kenya PEPFAR partnership in action. Together, Kenya and the United States have altered the course of the HIV/AIDS epidemic in Kenya. The partnership has saved millions of lives, strengthened health systems and economic prosperity, and perhaps most importantly, created hope. With over 1 million Kenyans on daily life-saving HIV treatment, and 94% of them have successfully suppressed the virus, I can confidently say Kenya is on the cusp of epidemic control. However, our mission is not finished. I hope all our partners continue working together to do what was previously seemed impossible, eradicating HIV/AIDS as a public health threat in Kenya by 2027. I like to say that success happens when good people with good intentions cooperate and work together over a shared area of interest. Teamwork matters. Kenya needs your know-how and your drive. Kenya needs the private and public sectors to continue to cooperate. Kenya needs a sustainable plan. The United States has already done the impossible, landing a man on the moon and bringing him home safely. Let's do it again, this time a little closer to home. Now, before I close, I want to appreciate the Kenya National Library Service for hosting us today and for displaying the PEPFAR 20 stories of hope to exhibit all the next month and inspire a new generation of Kenyans. Asante sana.
Asante sana Balozi, tumpigie makofi tena. At this point, Your Excellency, I'll now call upon the Cabinet Secretary for Health, Ms. Susan Akumicha, to give her remarks and in turn invite His Excellency the President. Welcome.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, Your Excellency Ambassador Meg, all dignitaries present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I am very happy, Your Excellency, that you found time to be here with us as we celebrate PEPFAR at 20. I would like to begin by introducing some of my team members who are here. Your Excellency, we have the PS for Medical Services, Harry Kimtai. We have the PS for Culture, Madam Umi. And Your Excellency, I would like you to meet two remarkable ladies who work in my ministry, and they have been at the forefront of the fight against AIDS. I would like you to meet Dr. Rose Wafula, and she's not my sister, head of NASCOP. I would also like you to meet Dr. Masha, who is the CEO of National Syndemic. Your Excellency, for me standing here today, I'm very happy that together we are celebrating the progress that we have made as a country through the help of PEPFAR to come, and I'm sure we will very soon come to an end of AIDS. Your Excellency, I am yet to see a global partnership model that has worked like this one. PEPFAR, Global Fund, the Ministry of Health, and most importantly, Your Excellency, the communities. We have been together, and this model is impactful. As a country, we have over 1.4 million people living with HIV/AIDS. But the success of this, Your Excellency, and the good story is that over 95% are on treatment. And those are not just figures, Your Excellency. You have just met Edna, a success story of what PEPFAR has done. And what she forgot to mention to you, Your Excellency, that when she began her journey, the number of drugs that she had to take, the ones that were at 30,000, it was a whole load of about 10 tablets. But through PEPFAR, that has come down. It came to a single tablet, and now to an injection that is being given after 3 months. We actually lost many people because of the load of drugs that they had to take. So, Your Excellency, I am so happy that PEPFAR is doing this with us. And it also takes me back a personal story, Your Excellency. When I was joining college, I only got 2 advices from my parents. One from my mother, who told me, do not come back pregnant. And the second advice from my father, who was a policeman, and he said, I do not want you to come back in a plastic black paper bag. Because those days, Your Excellency, people with HIV/AIDS, people with AIDS that had died were being transported back home for burial in plastic bags. It was horrifying. It was terrible. Your Excellency, the beauty of that story is that when I was sending my own daughter to college, I could not tell her that. Because PEPFAR has been with us, people are on treatment, and you can no longer say that don't come back in a paper bag. In fact, it takes effort for you to describe what AIDS looks like. So at a personal level, I want to thank you, PEPFAR. That PEPFAR has actually taught us that you can break political barriers, break economic barriers, break technical barriers, and break structural barriers to impact on lives of people. Your Excellency, through your guidance on this journey, many countries committed to ending AIDS, especially in children, by 2030, but you gave me a warning and you said it must be done, that as a country, we are working towards ending it in 2027. My team here knows, when you direct, I equally exert the pressure downwards. And they are aware that we are working towards ensuring that by 2027, we ensure that we end AIDS in children. I would like to take this opportunity to invite all of you to the World AIDS Day that we are going to be celebrating in Meru County on Friday. Please come as we celebrate PEPFAR. At 20, we also celebrate the progress that we have made in the HIV/AIDS space on that day in Meru County. With those very few or many remarks, I would like us to be upstanding. And please, a round of applause for His Excellency the President. Clap until he gets here. Thank you very much. Welcome, sir, and karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Susan. Please, let's take our seats. Your Excellency, Ambassador Meg Whitman, Deputy Governors present here, my CS, Susan Ahumicha, and your team, the great heroes that we celebrate today, dear Kenyans, good morning. Or is it afternoon? Good afternoon. Amjambo. Asanteni sana. There are many instances in the history of Kenya's bilateral and multilateral engagements where partnerships have achieved tremendous positive change in the form of policies, programs, and projects. On the other hand, there have been fewer instances where such partnerships have translated into direct, personal, feasible transformation in the lives and well-being of people in terms of ending suffering, reducing the number of deaths, and prolonging the lives of millions of people who might otherwise have faced high risk of agonizing early death. Kenya's partnership with the United States of America through the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, is one of these very rare partnerships. Indeed, it is amazing what PEPFAR has been able to achieve. In fact, as I sat here and listened to what PEPFAR has done, and when I went through the numbers and the notes and what has happened over the last 20 years, and looking at what the decision of one person somewhere very far from us, has changed the course of history and made a deadly pandemic into a celebration today. That today we are celebrating a great partnership. If HIV was what it was, this would not be a celebration. This would be something else. Until about 20 years ago, HIV/AIDS went through and ravaged the households and communities of this nation in a deadly rampage that left behind many people dead, others suffering agonizing illness, thousands of orphaned children, with many also infected with HIV, and vast socio-economic devastation. In fact, as I listened to Edna, as I walked in here, I mean, she represents something short of a miracle. The intolerable stigma that haunted infected and affected persons and their families was a huge barrier to access in terms of essential medical and social services, from public, private, as well as within even our societies. Those affected confronted their troubles by themselves, abandoned, neglected, or sometimes wholly forgotten. This country lost millions of people in this manner. And for a while, it looked like the HIV/AIDS problem would wipe out much of our productive population, robbing the economy of workers and families of breadwinners. The government faced very serious resource constraints in its efforts to pull back people from the edge of graves, families from the brink of ruin, communities from the cusp of disintegration, and the economy from the verge of collapse. Serious support was urgently needed in order to raise the level of necessary intervention on an effective scale. This support came in the form of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, which committed more than US $110 billion of American taxpayers' money to the fight against HIV/AIDS in more than 50 countries globally. And it's important for me to repeat it, that President George Bush committed $110 billion US of American taxpayers' money to help support millions of people globally. As a consequence, over 25 million lives have been saved and many more HIV infections prevented. In Kenya, PEPFAR has channeled over US $6.5 billion since 2004, with the latest allocation being over $346 million US for financial year 2023-2024, and US $327 million for the year 2024-2025. As a result, and again, let me say, this is American taxpayers' money committed to assist our citizens in Kenya. As a result, there has been a 68.5% reduction in new HIV infections and 53% reduction in HIV-related mortality, accompanied by tremendous improvements in the quality of life of persons living with HIV. The number of people living with HIV is about 1.4 million, of which about 1.3 million receive antiretroviral therapy from more than 3,000 health facilities across the country. This number includes over 48,000 children, as well as 55,000 breastfeeding mothers on HIV treatment. For millions of Kenyans, therefore, infection has not only ceased to be an agonizing death sentence, people actually remain productive, living as normal members of our community, free of stigma and enjoying a high quality of life. I was moved by the statements of Edna. I want to celebrate Joyce for what you're doing. When I listen to Joyce here, she deserves a better hand of applause. Joyce, you are a great inspiration. When I see you, I see many. Thank you very much, Joyce. The transformation that we could only hope for 2 decades ago has become a living reality for many households and many people. This was made possible principally through the partnership driven by the government of Kenya and PEPFAR, which continues to extend support directly and also indirectly through the Global Fund. PEPFAR contributes nearly 60% of ART commodities and also provides facilitation for various associated programs. And we are truly grateful. And I speak from my heart on behalf of the people of Kenya. We're truly grateful. There hasn't been, in my almost 30 years of being in politics, there hasn't been a successful program like what we see in PEPFAR. HIV-related commodities are estimated to cost between Kenya shillings 27 or between 27 and 30 billion annually. And owing to a decline in donor support, the funding gap now stands at US dollars 11.7 million. The government is committed to progressively increase domestic funding in order to sustain the gains made so far in partnership with PEPFAR. Over the past 2 years, we have increased our financial injection as government into the HIV commodity pipeline by Kenya shillings 1 billion to prevent supply disruptions. I remember making this commitment earlier this year when we were having a conversation with the Global Fund. Additionally, we are committed to end AIDS, as was said ably by Susan, in children by 2027 as part of our commitment under the Global Fund Alliance. They say in Kiswahili, wakati ni sasa. The time is now to take a strong stand and make up for lost ground for the sake of Kenya's children. We must all commit ourselves to this because our children deserve it. Further, the universal health coverage pillar of our bottom-up economic transformation agenda offers a significant opportunity to effectively address the domestic financing gap in our country with respect to HIV. I call on all the stakeholders to embrace this opportunity and make their contribution to a transformed and sustainable national HIV response as we do it globally for all our health sector. The conversation that is going to ensue shortly in Kenya is how we are going to fund our health requirements sustainably. And the biggest thank you we can give to those who have supported us, like PEPFAR, is to figure out, as Kenyans, how we can deal with the challenge of financing, how those who are able can do more to support those who are not able. For the first time in the history of our country, the health plan that we have will not only serve those who can afford, it's not going to serve not just to those who can pay, but for the first time, we want even those who cannot pay for government of Kenya to pay for them to make sure they too can access health care. Providing health for government is a constitutional imperative. It is not a choice that we have to make. We just have to figure out how it's going to happen. The health program that we have been running has excluded others. If you didn't have money to pay for NHIF, you didn't have money and therefore you didn't qualify. But under our new plan, those who are indigent, those who cannot pay, the government of Kenya is going to make sure that everybody has a health insurance card and make sure that they can access health. And secondly, we have also in our new plan removed all the exclusions that used to limit access to health facilities by especially those who are vulnerable in our community. Many people would go to hospital and they are told, oh, you know, your card has now exhausted your limit. In our new plan, there are no limits anymore. We have made sure that progressively, so long as you need medical attention, you will get medical attention. So long as you need medical treatment, you will get medical treatment. And I want to persuade us as a community of Kenyans to begin to appreciate that this is something we must do together. You have seen how the partnership between the US and the Kenya government and all the civil society and other stakeholders has achieved in the fight against HIV and AIDS. We can do it even more if we have a collaboration between government, private sector, and everybody else in between to make sure that we deliver on our new health plan. Today, we are able to look into the future with confidence because we stand on the firm foundation laid in collaboration with PEPFAR over the past 20 years. We are highly grateful to the US government. Ambassador, we are grateful to the US government for their partnership that has changed the fortunes of our nation. Such strong show of solidarity is highly appreciated, and we do not take the friendship and support for granted. Today, therefore, is a day to celebrate our historic achievement under a truly transformative partnership. Thank you very much, PEPFAR, and congratulations for many wonderful achievements. On behalf of the people and government of Kenya, I convey a heartfelt thank you to the American people, to PEPFAR and leadership, and to all the other partners, activists, civil society groups, those who have made this program succeed. A very big thank you to all of you. And your contribution, in whatever small way, in whatever major way, is truly appreciated. We have this success because of the collaboration and because of the partnership. I look forward to working with many of our partners, the US and others, PEPFAR, Global Fund, and other organizations, even as we figure out and as we consolidate our plan on universal health coverage. As Kenyans know, we've had a conversation around universal health coverage for many years. This time, we have to deliver on it. And I am committed to making sure that we build the collaboration and we build the teams that will enable us deliver on our commitment so that we can truly enjoy universal health coverage in Kenya. Thank you very much. May the very good Lord bless you. Asanteni sana.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And with your kind indulgence, there was a request to have a photo moment with the 20 heroes. So if I may request the 20 heroes to kindly just come to the stage so that we can have a photo moment with His Excellency together with Ambassador Meg Whitman. CS and PS is present. If you may kindly, the 20 heroes, kindly to just come on stage for that photo moment before we finalize with the national anthem. If we can kindly tuharakishe kidogo ili tuweze kujipanga. Wale wafupi tuje mbele kidogo. Wale wako vertically challenged, please come to the front. Let's spread. Then I'll request to just have a gap here. To widen tu kidogo. Madam, kuja mbele. Kindly let's take our seats. Please, let's sit down. Balozi, if you can be next to His Excellency. Those, the young girl, kindly akuje mbele, ili aonekane. Your Excellency, if you can just step forward a little bit.